Hi, everyone. This is Evan Langert with the Langert Commercial Group. And today I want to talk to you about two related topics. The first is the use clause in a lease, and the second one is the exclusive use clause in a lease. First, let's go over the use clause. So, what is a use clause? Well, a typical use clause might be something like tenant may use the premises for the operation of a first class pizzeria. It might also say after that, and may not use it for any other purpose without the landlord's written consent. So there's a strong argument, even if it doesn't have that latter language, that it's a limitation. If it has that language, it's definitely a limitation. So a lot of times tenants will read their use clauses, especially if they're going it alone and don't have any kind of representation on the legal or the brokerage side, and they'll look at it and say, yep, we're a pizzeria, and that says we could be a pizzeria, end of story. But you have to realize that that's a limitation. So if you decide, you know what, there's really a great call for ice cream around here and there's no ice cream store anywhere, I want to take half of our store and open up an ice cream shop. Well, you can't do that because your use clause doesn't say that you can. Or if pizzeria service is not going well or there's too much competition and you want to open a hamburger operation, can't do that either. Let's just say you wanted to assign your lease because you want to retire or things aren't going well and somebody else wants to take your lease over or your space over and they're a clothing store. Well, there are prohibitions generally in the assignment clause too, but also a clothing store is not allowed under the use clause, so a clothing store would not be allowed. Oftentimes, tenants have in their minds something else that they may want to do, or maybe they have related businesses and they're like, well, it's my space, I can do whatever I want in it. So I have a pizzeria and I also, my husband's a CPA, so I want to open his CPA office in the back. Well, the use clause doesn't allow for a CPA office. And so you really can't do that. A lot of times tenants make the mistake of thinking I'm renting the space, I can do whatever, I can move any of my businesses in here. And you really can't. So if there's something else that you want to do in the premises or that you may conceivably want to do in the premises, it's worth having the conversation with the landlord and trying to negotiate that or to make the use clause a little bit looser for you. So that's the first topic that I want to address today. And then a related topic that I'd like to talk about is the exclusive use clause. So what is that? So let's take this same pizzeria and they move into a shopping center and there's no other pizzeria in the shopping center. Well, they have a reasonable expectation that the landlord's not going to let another competing pizzeria open in the shopping center. Unfortunately, sometimes that happens. I just dealt with a situation recently, and I've been on both ends of this. I've been the attorney for somebody where the landlord's trying to bring in competition in the same center or the same building. Most recently, I was the broker for somebody and the attorney also for somebody who they were the second one in. So it was the other party who, when they signed their lease, thought, well, we're going to be the only ones doing this in the shopping center. And in fact, here we are a few years later, and the landlords decided that they want to lease space to somebody else in the shopping center to do the same thing. So if you're the first people in, that can cut into your business. And people don't like that. Tenants don't like that. If you're a pizzeria and you want to be the only pizzeria that's in the shopping center, or whatever, a clothing store that specializes in men's haberdashery, then you're wanting to be the only one in the shopping center that offers that, then you have to negotiate what's called an exclusive use clause. And an exclusive use clause says just what it sounds like. You cannot lease space, Mr. or Ms. Landlord, to anyone else for the purpose of, in our pizzeria example, running a pizzeria. So a lot of times landlords will put restrictions on that and they'll fight you back and there will be certain conditions. For instance, there are lots of restaurants who are not pizzerias, but they might have as one of their many, many menu items a pizza, slice of pizza, or even a whole pizza. And landlords won't typically cut them out. And it's a process like everything else is in a lease of negotiation between the landlord's interests and the tenant's interests. However, these are two items that I think people don't think about. that much, and a lot of people end up getting surprised because they did not negotiate an exclusive use clause in their lease, and a couple of years later or a few years later, here they are mortified because the landlord is bringing competition into the center. So think about that. As always, this is not intended to be specific legal advice or specific brokerage advice for anybody. Every situation is different. If you want to talk about your particular situation, give me a call at 443-529-0505, 443-529-0505, or email me at elangert@thelangertgroup.com. That's elangert@thelangertgroup.com. Langert is ELAN as in Nathan, GERT as in Thomas. As always, have a great day, be safe, and God bless.